Cancelled media is one of the most well-known and most interesting topics in entertainment. Whether it was cancelled for the best or for worse, I, along with many people, like to find out what could have been and why it was eventually cancelled. As you can tell by the title of this video, we'll be talking about 5 cancelled horror movies. The reason why I'm doing a horror-related topic so early is because this month is airing the last 5 episodes of Season 9 of AMC's The Walking Dead. So, what better way to continue the horror trend by doing a horror-related video? In this video, I will be discussing the reason why said movie was cancelled and if it would have been good or not, in my opinion, of course. I have nothing else to say, so without further ado, let the chills of cancelled media begin. God, that was corny. Number 1. The Warner Brothers version of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Now, this movie is the only one on the list that isn't 100% cancelled, but the original version by Warner Brothers is definitely scrap metal, no pun intended. The plot of the film was going to be based on the backstory of the game, The Bite of 87, along with the missing children incident. The film was going to be directed by Gil Kenan, the guy who directed Monster House and City of Ember. The film was originally slated for a release date of this year in 2019, but the date was changed to next year in 2020. However, this film was cancelled for 2 reasons. The first reason was because Warner Bros. Couldn't get the animatronics to work on set. And the second reason was because Scott Cawthon wanted to make at least one more game to give closure to the story. That game was Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Simulator. So Warner Brothers canceled it, and instead they made Ready Player One and are currently making the Minecraft movie. Blumhouse Productions, the studio behind Paranormal Activity, Split, and Get Out, later joined up with Scott to make the FNAF movie come true. And in 2018, Chris Columbus, who directed Harry Potter's 2 and 3, Mrs. Doubtfire, Gremlins, and Home Alone 1 and 2, joined Blumhouse and Cawthon to make the film. So, would this have been good? Well, two words, hell no. While Warner Brothers had hit the mark with It back in 2017, and Tomb Raider and Rampage being slightly well received last year, I feel like this movie is not only going to be another dumb horror movie, but also I felt like it was also going to be another dumb video game movie. And despite the fan base constantly trying to keep this series relevant again, FNAF has been dipping in popularity since early 2016, despite the success of Sister Location and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Simulator. This is like the Slender Man movie all over again, except no one was asking for that movie to even be made. As for Blumhouse's version, I'll give it a try, but I won't have my expectations set very high. And I also won't be surprised if Blumhouse's version gets canceled as well. Number 2. The American remake of Battle Royale. Back in 2006, it was announced that the Japanese controversial cult classic Battle Royale was getting an American remake. Which, back in those days, it was common for original Japanese material to get an American remake. The plot of the film was going to follow the Japanese original, but this one was going to be a more hardcore American version. You heard right. A hardcore American version of Battle Royale. Now, to those who do not get what I mean by that, this was going to be the same movie, but with a lot more violence, a lot more blood and gore, and a lot more swearing. And possibly a lot more sex. The film was scheduled for a 2008 release, and production began in 2007. The film was canceled due to the Virginia Tech shooting back in the same year production began in the first place. Another reason why the film was canceled, but no one talks about, is because of the Hunger Games. Due to the Hunger Games' huge success, the film was completely killed. So would this have been good? I'd say no. I'm perfectly fine with the Japanese original, and it's something that I do not believe needs an American remake. And while I'm not a huge fan of the Hunger Games, aside from the Hunger Games simulator, I'm glad we got that instead of a Team America World Police style version of Battle Royale. I can't believe I just said that. Number 3. Worst case scenario. This canceled Dutch zombie film is an interesting case, to say the least. The plot of the film was that the Netherlands beat Germany in the World Cup of Football, aka soccer, which pisses Germany off massively, and they, Germany, send zombies to kill everyone in the Netherlands. Wow. Talk about sore losers. The director of the film, Richard Rabforst, sorry if I pronounced that name horribly wrong, and the crew began working on the film in 2004. In 2006, 2 trailers of the film were released to the public, and zombie lovers went static all over the internet of how creepily awesome these trailers look, which got them pumped for the film. Sadly, the film was cancelled after Ralph Forst, again, sorry if I pronounced that name wrong, and the crew couldn't get enough money to make the film. After the project was shelved in 2009, Ralph Forst and the crew later made Frankenstein's Army, which borrowed similarities from Worst Case Scenario. So would this have been good? Maybe. The concept of this film is dumb, but the visuals, tone, and the zombies themselves looked very creepy and eerie. But I am glad that this film didn't happen, because I really do not want to know what Germany's reaction would have been if they saw this movie. But despite its cancellation, the trailers are available on Ralph Forst's YouTube channel. Just go to the search bar and type in Worst Case Scenario trailers. Number 4. George A. Romero's Resident Evil. Before Paul W. Anderson made the Resident Evil movies that we all know and hate today, zombie filmmaker George A. Romero, R.I.P., was hired to make a Resident Evil movie. Unlike Anderson's original version, which was more action/horror related, Romero's version was a straight-up horror movie with some action thrown into it. And unlike Anderson's version, Romero's version was going to follow the game, though it wasn't very clear which game it was going to follow, or something else along that line. I don't know. Sadly, the film was cancelled after Capcom didn't like Romero's script and got Paul W. Anderson to make a Resident Evil movie series instead. And we all know how that turned out. So, would this have been good? I'm actually going to say yes on this one. Yes, it's a movie based off a video game, but Romero was a great director and his films are freaking amazing. It's just sad that not only will we never get another George A. Romero film, but also it further proves that Capcom, despite its few redeeming qualities, is only here on this planet to seek and destroy. Then again, what video company that isn't Nintendo doesn't do that? Let me know in the comments below. Despite the film's cancellation, Romero's script is available to view online. The link will be in the description below. Number 5. Ridley Scott's I Am Legend. There's not a whole lot to talk about with this one, so I'll just somewhat briefly talk about it. Before Francis Lawrence directed the Will Smith version under the same name, Warner Brothers hired Ridley Scott, the director of Alien, Blade Runner, and Gladiator, to direct a I Am Legend movie based on the book by Richard Matheson. Plot-wise, there is no information, but my guess was that it was going to have the same plot as the Will Smith movie we got back in 2007. What was confirmed was that the film was going to star Arnold Schwarzenegger as the book's main protagonist, Robert Neville, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but yeah. Which actually wasn't a bad choice. Production began in 1995, and while all was going well, it was all going well until the film got canceled due to the film being way too over budget, and Scott's script being way too dark and edgy, as well as having almost no dialogue whatsoever, which forced Warner Bros. To pull the plug. Now, would this have been good? I definitely think so. But I am glad we got Francis Lawrence version instead. And so those were 5 canceled horror movies that I wanted to talk about. If you want to see more, let me know in the description below. This is Red Elastic 98, signing off. Have a nice day, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!